Hello, hello, hello. I'm coming to you today with a question. This is more like a question that I have for you. Turn it a little bit for me, honey. I'll tell you when to stop. Great, perfect. This is more so of a question for you married people, couples that are in a relationship. This is something I want you to ponder or to think upon on today. And the question is, do you think you can have him wrapped around your finger? Do you think you can have him wrapped around your finger? Well, I had got this article that I was reading on, and basically what it says, she was stating that you will have him wrapped around your finger. And for me, as I was telling you guys to ponder upon that question, I pondered upon that question. And for me, being with my husband for 35 years, been married to him for 32 years, I don't know if I want to quote call having someone wrapped around your finger. And when I say that, having someone wrapped around your finger to me seems like you're arrogant, seems like a lot of pride, seems controlling. A lot of negative things come to mind when I think of having someone wrapped around your finger. And so for me, it's a no. I wouldn't want my spouse wrapped around my finger. Now, what finger I would like him to be wrapped around, and that is the Father's finger. Because if a man can love God, he knows how to love you. And so I don't want that much power over someone that I feel like, I have him so wrapped around my finger per se. And if any of you feel that way, to each is his own. That's my opinion, and that's my personal opinion, that I don't feel like I want that much power over someone that I can feel that, I have him in that much control. And as well as I wouldn't want him to feel that he have me wrapped around his finger, because fingers can be broken. And so I wouldn't want him to put that much, into me. I want him to say, give me that wife that can first put God first, then allow him to show her the way to love me, or the way to nurture me, or to a way to handle me, and a way to whatever the case may be. And so that's why I said it. But that was a good thing. I read that article and I was like, wow, you would have him wrapped around your fingers. This is what the whole ordeal was about. And so the first question was getting him to open up to you so that you can know him better than anybody. Let me read that again. Getting him to open up to you so that you can know him better than anybody. Now, as a spouse, or as someone, your fiance, or someone that you're wanting, to get to know better. Now that's a positive thing for me. My opinion on that is you want to get to know your spouse. You want to, know him as much as possible, because that's the person that you sleep with, you wake up to, all those things that you do with that person. So with your significant other, whether if it's your fiance or your spouse, that's a person that, yes, that question, you do want to get to know that person. You want to know the insides and out of that person. And as I have a book called The 31 Days to a Healthy Marriage, I talk about that a lot. And I basically say that you need to learn your spouse. When you're learning your spouse, that helps you to know that spouse on another level. Because just like I told you, I've been with my husband for 35 years, but yet I'm learning my spouse, because that spouse that I knew when I was a teenager, that's not the spouse that I have right now. And the same with him. I'm not the spouse that he had back, when we first met in the 80s. So for with that, I'm constantly wanting to know my spouse. I'm constantly wanting to know his likes, what his dislikes, what, ticks him off, what, makes him happy. All those things I'm learning and I want to know more of. So getting to open up so you can know him better than anyone else. First of all, when you're allowing your spouse to open up, first of all, you have to allow their spouse to have that guard down, because if he opens up to you once and it was something that he really felt that, wow, it's really taken all within me to open up to my spouse on this particular matter, and then you take it and you slam it back in his face, well, it's going to be hard for your spouse to open up to you again, because you proved him that he can't open up to you. So with that, you have to be very mindful. You have to allow your husband or your wife to let their guards down. With nurturing him, with letting him or her know that you have their backs. And when I say that, that allows them to be able to open, because if a person don't feel committed to you or don't feel comfortable around you, you're not going to get very much out of that person. And that's even in a relationship. If you say, oh, well, I'm married to that person, so what? If you guys are married and you don't have that bond or whatever the case may be, a lot of things you will not know about your spouse, because it's it could be a wedge or bridge or whatever that's departing that growth from you guys as a couple. And so, honey, come here for a minute. It looks like my phone about to fall. Okay. And so, with that being said, you just have to make sure your spouse is comfortable with you. I don't know what it's doing, but it's going down, tilting. Perfect. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. But yeah, so with that being said, excuse me about my phone. I'm not sure what happened with the tripod, but I want to make sure you guys are getting this message. But the main thing is allowing each other to be able to open up and feel comfortable with sharing whatever. And, we shouldn't have secrets anyway, but if there's anything that your spouse feel like they can't tell you or open up to you, that's a dangerous place to be at, because you always want your spouse to feel comfortable in any area of his life or her life, so that they're able to come to you before they go to the next person and spread or confidant in that person on a situation that you had not even aware of. So, because some things we're not even aware of each other needs or are a concern per se, because we haven't taken that time out to really get to know what our spouse need. And so that's another thing. If we're not taking the time out to know what our spouse needs, we will run into them not being able to open up to you. They'll go to the boys, or she'll go to the girls, and she'll open up quicker to them than she can her own spouse. And that is a big problem for me, when you can open up to someone else. And I talk about that as well in my book. If you can go and you have more time with your friends than you do with your spouse, and you can open up and you can share every thought with them, then there is truly a problem with that. So that's the first question. And let me read it again. It says getting him to open up to you so that you can know him better than anybody else. That's the thing you want to do. You want to be able to get your spouse comfortable enough to come to you with anything, whether if it's a female or a male, wife, husband, fiance, whatever. You want to be able for that person to come and open up to you about any situation and feel comfortable and knowing that you're not going to judge them. Okay, and then 2, it says being mindful of how you speak to your better half and how it will get you more of what you want out of him the easy way. Okay, that's another sticky subject. A lot of times, if we have so much mouth and, every time the spouse got something to say, we got something bigger, or, it's like a competition, like you got to make sure you get your last thing in. That can be very, very competitive. That can be very, very, very bad for a relationship to grow, because now you feel like you have to be, you have to have the last say so. And so being mindful when you're speaking to one another, that's meaning speaking with respect. You always have to come with respect. I don't care how the situation may come. Now, if it's a sticky situation, allow yourself to cool off, because who's to say how you're going to come if you come in angry? All of us, we can't dictate the way we handle things when we are truly angry. So I'm not going to speak on how you will handle, but what I will say to you is that breathe for a moment, cool off before you just go and just say something that you will regret later on. Been there, done that. And so I say to you, always think before you speak. And that can definitely help you to be more open to your spouse. That can help you guys to grow together. That can help your significant other feel more at ease to come to you and share anything with you. And so with that being said, I'm going to read that one more time. Being mindful of how you speak to your other behalf, and how it will get you more of what you want out of him the easy way. Now they're talking about a guy, your husband, but I'm saying this goes both ways. So I'm using this when I'm talking about, this, I'm just using the wife as well, because husbands, same likewise, we need for you guys to come to us correct too. We supposed to submit, but then we don't want you to feel like, you can say whatever to us and then feel that, we're just going to, take it at ease and not bite back. So don't provoke us to do something that you will regret in the long run. Come to us with respect, and we'll come back with that same respect. That's what we should do as a couple. And so let's see if anything else I want to touch on that particular subject. And then things do come better. Like if I am doing whatever for my spouse, and and it's something that he really wanted or whatever, like say for instance, I plan a fishing trip. That's something he does, what I'm saying? And I plan a fishing trip, like, hey babe, we should go to wherever, and do this fishing trip. Well, that's something he really, really likes to do. Well, if it's something that he knows I like to do, that put him at ease more to be vulnerable to do the things that I like to do too, because he said, hey, my wife took out the time to do this with me. Now he's ready, to go or do whatever that he feels that I like to do, because that have to be a balance in whatever you do. If your spouse like to do something, do those things, but there's a balance. You do what you like to do, and your spouse is more adamant, or your fiance or whoever that significant other is more adamant to want to do some of the things that you do, and to make your life much easier by respecting one another, things that they like to do. You might not be a fisherman. I was never really per se a fisherman, but the fact that my husband, the love that he had for fishing, it grew on me. Now, when I was coming up, I should love fishing, because my granddad, that's all he done. We had a pond right from our home, and he would take us as little girls, my sisters, my siblings, my cousins. He would take us to the lake and fish with him, and he'll clean them and he'll cook them, and he showed us everything about a fish. So it wasn't like I was new to the life of fishermen, but it was just, it never grew on me enough to be out there. Now, if I can throw a reel and throw the reel in and catch a fish, that's fine, because I'm like, wait, excited because I caught a fish. But to just be out there and not catching nothing, my husband will be out there, it's hot, cold, whatever. So just to give you an example of how it doesn't matter if you're not feeling it like that. Always be that supporting supportive husband or wife or significant other, that you can still not spoil it for him or her. Okay? So, and that makes life so much easier. Trust me, it makes it so much easier when you can come together as one and make that thing happen, regardless if you like to do it or not, because it's not always about you. You know, sometimes when you at ease for someone else, then they can at ease for you, and you both can be happy. That's the main thing about it, is being happy and not miserable in a relationship. Okay, and then 3, it says using your energy and the importance of independency within a relationship and how it'll affect longevity of a couple, and using it to get him to depend on you, which makes you basically what it's saying, and it's kind of a touchy subject, it's like you're taking you as a female to take away the goods. So I was trying to use a term for that. So say, like, for instance, if your husband, got on your nerves or whatever, and you're just not feeling him at the moment or whatever, so you take the goods away from your spouse because you feel that, or you're just not feeling him right now. That's something as a married couple we're obligated to do. We're obligated to do that. Now, if it's gotten to so bad to where there's, abuse situations or whatever the case may be, that you feel that you're at harm, then you have to take the right measurements to either divorce or do whatever you need to do in order to get out of that situation. But as a wife, as a spouse, when you become, because there's people in here that's not married that's going to watch this, when you become that spouse, the wife, that husband, then those things are obligated. Those are some things that you have to take in consideration when you are in a committed relationship, because those things bring about bond. Those things bring about, a lot of different things to bring us together as one. And when that particular part is out, when you're not giving the goods up, then it can become tension. It can become stressful, and it's a lot of different things, and I don't want to go into that, but it's a lot of different things that can cause those things not to take place. But in a relationship, we have to be mindful to still try and be committed to one another in however way that makes us comfortable in doing so. And so that's all I'm going to say on that particular subject, because that could be a touchy subject, and I don't want to reach out and go out too far in this particular setting. However, this is going to be on YouTube, so you're able to come back and kind of elaborate on these questions that I'm asking. And it's always helpful if you feel these questions that I'm answering, input, or say it a different way that you feel, this is just my personal opinion from me being, married for the amount of time that I have. And so these are what I feel about these situations. Now, and I normally try and do godly things, because that's what I go by. That's what I breathe. I want to do what's pleasing to God's eyes. And so when we become as one, there's no distance in the bedroom when it comes to God. So we have to be mindful to make sure that we're handling our business. Okay? And so the next one is submission. And it says, yes, but the true meaning of submission and where it fits into modern day relationships, and why is it vital to the longevity of a relationship and eventually marriage. And I kind of touched base on that earlier about being submitted to one another. It's not just about, the Bible speaks of a wife submitting to her husband, but we also have to be submitted towards one another. And when I'm meaning that, being submitted toward one another, you can't always feel like you can say or do whatever and feel that your significant other is going to be okay and they're going to submit to you, because we all have feelings, we all have needs, we all have different things that that concerns us. And so being submitted to a person, that's a person that understands your needs as well. When we're submitting, you're submitting toward one another, that both are understanding each other's needs, that we can grow together, that we can bond together, that we can be able to um, what word am I want to use? We can be able to forget about us, forget about self. A lot of times when we have selfish ways, when we have selfish boundaries, different things, the way the way we grew up, those different things, that can be a very big hindrance in submitting to your significant other, because you feel like, as I stated earlier, you just got to say the last word, or you're not going to talk to me like that, or whatever the case may be, which both of you guys will always come with respect. That's the number one for me. When you're submitting to someone, you have to come with respect, and you have to be mindful of the things you say to one another, because once something is said, it's hard to take back, or it's hard to try and explain to your significant other what you meant, because sometimes they say, when you're mad or you're drunk or whatever the case may be, you speak the truth of how you really feel about someone. And so a lot of things can't be, and that's a big problem in, this society that we live in now, is, younger couples are coming up and they've seen, where their mother wasn't submissive, or their father, didn't allow their mothers or to be submissive or whatever. And so now you got these millennials coming up and they're marrying, and then now they have a problem with submitting. And then you find a lot of divorces because, you bump heads because neither one of you, both of you got that bulldog mentality, and no one is willing to bow down. And so when you have those two different conflicts between one another, you're going to have some different disagreements. You're not going to be able to submit, because once and for all, you're not even going to be able to be on the same level, because one's trying to outdo the other, or one is trying to get the last say-so in. So therefore, now you have a bigger mess than what the problem that you initially came with. So I just say submit toward one another. And when you submit toward one another, it helps your relationship to grow, because therefore you both are given the respect that is so well needed to bring about longevity. Because no longevity or no pride in having someone that can't submit to you or respect you in the long run. Okay? And so, let's see. I talked about that. Okay, yeah, as I talked about, we were talking about modern days with relationships, longevity, okay? And then this is another one that I want to talk about. That was 5, and so we're going to talk about, I don't know where 4 went. That's interesting. But anyway, we're going to talk about this particular one. It says, the one thing that most women overlook when it comes to their man, that is so simple and can be implemented instantly and responsible for why many men say that they can't commit to one woman. Okay, a lot of times I would say to that question is, a lot of times it's not even about that spouse. When you have someone that have a 9 times out of 10, when you have a man, I'll use a man that is afraid of commitment, it's either he's been hurt, either he he didn't grow up around that type of environment where they were able to that he was able to see some type of role model before him. That little boy that still rises in him, that feel like, oh no, I'll never commit to anyone. The bad divorce, just so many different things that can allow an individual, a man, to not be able to commit. Now, when it comes to us, yes, women handle things different. Per se, like if we've been hurt, we can put a wall up and not trust very fast, in our future, endeavors as far as with the relationship. But then we tend to think differently than men. Once a man, you broke whatever that strong bond with a man, if you were female, a wife, ex-wife, or whatever, that's something a man have a real hard time, and especially if he loved that woman. He he was head over heels, and that woman that he loved just really broke his heart. A lot of times with that, it's hard for that man to commit to another woman, without him bringing those same issues up in their relationship. Oh, I know I could never trust another woman. The wife I had before, she did this, and that. And I know she did it, and I know every woman the same. No wife, no husband, no whoever planning on getting in a serious relationship, no person is the same. Now, granted, all of our women have something in common, but no woman is the same, as well as a man. All the men have some things in common, but no man is the same. So never try and put what you've been through on to what your future would be. You never know, you might have to go through that to be the person that you are, who knows? And so never just feel like, oh, this is it. I never ever try, to commit to anyone else, because when I tried it, I got hurt. Well, put on your big clothes and, you move on from that, and some people heal differently, than others. Everyone is not going to heal the same way another person. Somebody might have, got into this thing with a relationship, and before you know it, within the next 6 months, they moved on and they're healthy, and they don't, feel like they can blame someone else. They feel they took their responsibility in that situation, as well as allow the other person to take their responsibility, and they moved on. But then you got some that will hold on that until the day they leave this earth. And so with that being said, you got all different kinds of people in the world that we live in, and all kind of backgrounds and, diversities and different things that will allow a person to feel the way they feel. Now, we can't blame that person, because we all are coming up from different backgrounds. We all have different things that we had to deal with coming up as a kid, and as even in our adolescence, and all those different, in our 20s and 30s and 40s and whatever the case may be. We all have our different way of viewing things. And so I can't say the way you view things is different from the way I view things. But what we do have to come together as a couple is to realize is that I can't just say the way you do things is wrong, because your wrong to me can be your right. And so that's where a lot of different relationships have their biggest problems. And so that stuck out to me. This article, I'm always about marriages and things like that, but that really stuck out to me about that particular subject. Will you have him wrapped around your finger? That was a good question. I kind of explained my views on that. Never feel like, you have arrived in your relationship. Always strive to do better. Always strive to conquer greater. Because once you feel that now you arrive and everything is, you happy-go-lucky, and you feel like you're on a fairy tale, which I talk about in my book as well, baby, marriage is challenging. And so when you have that challenge, and if it's worth it, I always say if it's worth it, when you have a challenge that's faced up against you, never let that challenge outdo you. Always find a way to overcome that situation. Because if you never find a way to overcome, guess what? You'll be married 5, 10, 11 times, and you still not happy, because you gonna be you at the end of the day. And so it's not always about that person. It could be you. You could be the problem. And so with that, always evaluate yourself. Never feel that I have arrived, I'm always right. Don't have the I-tinitis. I think my pastor mentioned that one time, or somebody, I believe it was my pastor, that mentioned, I-tinitis, meaning it's all about I. We're a team. When we came together, it was you, your spouse. You guys came together, and now you are as one. And so you can't have that I-tinitis when you are as one. You're going to have these different disagreements. You're going to have these knockdown fallouts. You're going to have this I don't like you, I can't stand you right now moments. Is that wrong? No, we're human. We are human. We're going to have this I don't love you, I'm not in love with you. We're going to have all those kind of moments. See, that's what the thing is, and that really stands out to me, is that with a lot of that, when it comes to I'm not in love with you no more. Now that's a big one right there. You know, you feel like that's the end of the world. But don't you know people fall out of love and fall in love daily? You can like your dog, but you can dislike a human. Really strongly dislike. I mean, like almost like to a hate situation. But then you can love this human, fall in love with that person. But then when that person don't reach your expectations or they failed your expectations, you can fall out of love with them. Are you wrong? No, you're not. You are human. And human have human, ways. Now, we can't stay on our human level. We have to take it to a higher being. Now, for me, in my household, I take it to God because I never want to do nothing on Lynn's timing. Because Lynn can be somebody that, hey, ain't taking nothing. Hey, it is what it is. Done. But when you take it to a higher level than you, and I first honor my God, Lord and Savior, when I take it to him, I can see things clearly. I know how to handle a situation. I feel like I don't always have to have the last say-so in a matter. I give it to him and let him handle it, and then show me in a situation. But if we can never, go to someone that you really, I go to a higher power, and that's the Lord Jesus Christ. Now, if you have someone, I don't talk to those ones that don't believe. I don't, condone whatever your religion is, but I'm a person that believes in God. So if you're listening to me, then you have to have some type of relationship when it comes to God in order to understand where I'm coming from. If you don't have that relationship, I'm probably going to sound like blah, 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 blah to you because you don't understand and you don't feel me. But if you're from that place that know that there is a God and know that God is the center of your being and everything, not just a relationship, but your whole entire being is based on the approval of God, then you can relate to what I'm saying. And so those are the type of people that I want to reach out to. But as I stated in the conclusion, never feel that you have anyone, not just your spouse, but never feel that you have anyone wrapped around your finger, because as I stated, your finger can be broken. Okay? So, I hope this helps someone. I do have classes that I do. It started in January, the 15th of January, which was the beginning of 2020. I do have classes. If you did not get on the one in January the 15th, 2020, you are still able to get in on those classes. I will always have those classes available because, marriages, you have issues all the time arise, So I don't limit myself on when I can counsel a person or when I can, help someone in their relationship. So I offer those classes year round. You can find me on Facebook, as well as my Facebook blog called Frankie Book Blog. What else? I have the YouTube channel. You can reach me if you personally know me, or you can inbox me. And if that's something that, you're wanting to talk about, to get a revelation, to get an understanding, or to get whatever you're needing in to make your relationship better, contact me. I'm able to brainstorm with you. I'm able to give you the godly advice, because that's all I know to do is to give you godly advice. If you're looking for, me to tell you what you want to hear, you're probably not gonna get what you're wanting to hear, because I'm gonna always seek God concerning you. Just as I can seek God concerning my relationship, I'm gonna always seek God concerning your relationship, because I'm not gonna value my relationship more than I do someone else that actually depended on me to give them the right answer, because I know that blood would be on my hands. So I'm going to always seek godly counseling from my Father first, which is the Father in heaven, before I come to you and just give you some side stuff off the side of my neck. Now, I can have some good things to say, and it could sound real good, but I want some God things to help you for longevity in your marriage. So with that being said, as I stated, I have 2 books out. One's called God's Gift of Food the Devil Doesn't Want You to Know About. And that's a lot of different nutritious, different things about your health. Because we got to stay here. It says in marriage, it says sick and in health, right? So we got to stay healthy. And so that book just allow you to be able to get off the dependency of medicine. I mean, just so many different things. It talks about the different foods, what it does for your body, all those different things. It just helps you to be a better person. Because if we don't feel good in the inside, if we're always down and we feel sluggish or whatever the case may be, our marriage suffer too. Let's just be honest. If you're not getting what you need, even in your physical body, it can definitely affect your emotional, your relationships and all those different things. Anything around you, it affects, basically. So I got that book out as well as, or I have that book out, should I say, as well as the 31 Days to a Healthy Marriage. And those are the things that I come to you on YouTube and other forums and platforms that I have to show you guys and to teach you guys and to hear you guys. Because it's not all about putting out. It's also about listening to different things too. So with this thing that I talked about today, I want you guys to kind of put your input on. You will have him wrapped around your finger, or do you think you can have him wrapped around your finger? That's what the question I asked. But this particular article that I read says you will have him wrapped around your finger. And those are my little spills on how I feel about the wrapping around the finger, is that finger definitely can be broken. And so, I think that's all I pretty much have to talk to you guys about today. But I thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate your time. And I ask that you have a blessed day.